Jonah. Okay, now we're going to do a little bit of restoration on this one, but there is a problem. Let me get the lights on before oops. When people talk about Jonah, do they really believe this, that a man got swallowed by a large fish? Okay. It's surprising how people today can believe things like this. Now, also, the words that are used in the Gospels about Jonah are wrong. In fact, they make Jesus a liar. And I'm going to go over all of them, but I am going to go ahead and go through Jonah here. And I've started a little bit ahead because I'm trying to do some work here ahead of time, just so I don't try to do too many hours on one book here. Okay. The words of the word of YV. Now, this is absolutely crazy. Every time you see this, prophecy came from our Creator when He sent people. Okay, so the words are not of Him; they're from Him. Okay, from YV. And they came not to Jonah, but they came through Jonah. Okay. Now he's a son from this guy here, and here they want us to believe that our Creator said, YV said, YV told him. I'd still have to put this at the beginning. YV said, YV, I think the correct answer would be YV told him, rise up, okay, arise, okay, we'll just use the word arise right now. Go to Nineveh and cry against it, for their wickedness has come up before me. Their wickedness has come, like everything has to ascend to our Creator. I mean, come on. That's a long distance. If you don't know where heaven is located, in the description box below, you'll see that video. For their wickedness has come before me. Okay. But Jonah rose up and fled to Tarshish. Now, do you know where Tarshish is at? Do you know what Tarshish is? Do you know what Nineveh is? Okay. Now, let's start with, he was going to go to, he's supposed to go to Nineveh or whatever here. So let me see, I've got that in this here. Okay. Now, this is the location. You got to put like Nineveh in the Bible to get the locations. But what you're seeing is Nineveh is located right here. Okay. Oops, let me get this arrow like that. Now he's supposed to be in Jerusalem down here. Okay. Now, or somewhere in this area. Okay. And he calls it a country. But the object is this is where our Creator is saying to send him. Now, here is the Euphrates River, okay? Now, some people don't know how wide the Euphrates River is. There's a bridge up here that is the place or location, if you searched and looked for the captives going into Babylon, that they said they crossed the river here. Now, there is a bridge that has, you could probably put 3 or 4 cars on driving across it before they get across the bridge, okay? It's more than 100 feet, maybe, I'd say more than 700 feet wide. I don't know, but I just know when I've seen the pictures, it astounds me the size of bridge that they have to cross right here. But that's the distance of the, or the width of this river. Okay, it's a large one, and the water is rushing. This is a hill area or mountainous area all over the place, and the water is draining from them down here. Okay, now where is he going to? He's going to Tarnish. Now, whoops, I need to do this and now find Tarnish. Now this is Tarnish over here, okay? This is Spain, all right? Now, it's saying that he's supposed to be going to someplace over here, okay? And yet it's way over here is where he's going to go. Now he's located here, okay? That's Jerusalem, by the way. Now, the thing here is why would you go this way and then come back here? Or no, not, this is, why is he running this far away? Okay, that's the question. When our Creator wants him to go to here. Now, how, the distance, when you're traveling, this distance that's here from, let's see, let's just say from Jerusalem, he's traveling from Jerusalem. The path to get there is, there's only a certain way that they can travel. This is, all this brown area you see here, this is the desert that gets to like 125 degrees during the day. The Chaldeans lived in this little bit of land that has some green right there. Now the thing here is where did the map say they're at? I want to make sure I do this right. Okay, up on that curve. That's quite a ways up there. They're saying it's up in here, okay, where I got Babylon situated. So he's got to go around this river, come down here, you're going to cross that bridge or whatever they said was right there, and then come down all the way over to here. Now that's about a 700-mile journey, okay, just to let you know. And you have to take your supplies, you got to take the money, you got to figure out, be smart when you're thinking about these things, okay? Now that's setting you up for that part. Now when the text comes here and it says, but Jonah rose up and fled, not flee, fled to Tarnish, to Tarnish or Spain, from the presence, okay, from the presence of YV. Now, how can he get away from the presence of YV? I mean, are you people actually paying attention to the text and thinking these out? Because this is just ridiculous. You can't flee from a Creator. So this here is just a flat out lie. So what he did is he went down to this place here, Joppa. Now where is Joppa? Okay, now this becomes interesting as well, because Joppa is over here, okay, and you can see this is Judah. They're saying this is in Judah, so let's get some images here. Where's one that trying to okay, well, that's a little bit okay, this one looks to be a little bit easier. Now they're saying Joppa is here, and we have the Dead Sea here, and we have Lake Galilee here. So we're looking at this city right here, okay? Now listen, now how do you go up or down to the city, okay? Now you can descend from the hills. Okay, you got to understand, Israel is a hill country that rises up to, I think, 1,800 feet in elevation most of the time, 15 to 18. That's pretty high, but you got to remember the mounts that are in the Bible are over here, and they are, whoops, your visual needs to be this way. Lebanon, or Jordan and Syria are over here, and they're up high because Moses looked down upon the hill country of Israel. But being at a 15 to 1800 elevation and having to come down is more the proper word to say what's going on. But I want you to remember, this is where he's starting, okay? Now, let's get back to the text. And I'm trying to make this only an hour long. Try to get this one. Maybe it might. I got it as part one, but I know that I get off track. So he went down to Joppa and found a ship going to Tarshish and paid the fare. He went down to it. Now, why do they have to repeat the words that he went down to it? I mean, he went down. He descended. He descended to Joppa. Okay, this word has to be changed to be descended. Okay. Now, I'm not even worried if I'm spelling right. If you know me, you know I don't spell very good. Now, he descended to Joppa. Okay, so it doesn't need that he went there. He was already down there and he already paid for the fare. Okay. And now, again, they say he left the presence of our Creator, which can't do. Okay, let's just say that what cannot be truthful. Okay, and we've got the story here. Now, our Creator hurled, I mean, our Creator caused, okay? I'm just going to change that word, caused a great, okay, see here, great storm, or caused a great wind on the sea. Now, and there was a great storm on the sea, caused a great wind, and there was a great storm on the sea. On the sea, great storm on. On, I don't see is right. Out on the sea, there was a great storm. And why they caused a great wind? For a great storm to be on the sea. Okay. Now, it was so that the ship was about to break up. Not that it was about to break up. It was that is overdoing it here. The ship was about to be, because when the ships do this, they're going up and down, or that's if they're facing the waves that's going up and down. But if you start going sideways and get caught that way, you can't correct it out on the sea, so your boat is teetering back and forth. So the ship was about to not break up, but sink. Okay. And I better just add that. I know that I should be slowing down on some of this edit, but anyways, about to sink. And not it was then, it was the sailors became afraid. I'm trying to see, because this too, I'm just trying to put them in subject because, anyways, it was because they went down to go with them to Tarnish. And on the sea there was a great storm. See, this should be over here, and then you don't need this. But they want you to know that our Creator is the only one that can create this storm at this time. And the sailors became afraid, and every man cried to his Creator. Okay. Then they threw the cargo, it has to be on the ship, into the sea to lighten it. Okay. Now, these are the sailors. Okay. And then all of a sudden, but Jonah had gone down to the hold of the ship and laid down and fallen asleep. Now here, if you're paying for your cargo or your passage, why wouldn't he have been down here? But so was Jonah not had gone, but was below in the hold of the ship. Okay. And had lain down and fallen asleep. You don't need to say sound asleep, but asleep. Then, so would be okay. So the captain approached him and said, the captain approached him and said, I guess I've got that. I'm looking to keep these in verses, and said, how is it that you are sleeping? Question mark. Space. Get up and call on your Creator. Perhaps your Creator will be concerned about us. So that we will not perish, drowned. Drowned is the correct word. Okay. And it would be letting him, okay. So this actually needs to be tied up to here. Get up and call on your Creator. Okay, you don't need the Creator twice, so it needs to be to be concerned that we will not drown. Okay, that's keeping them in two verses. You see, we're getting two verse a lot of them, so that's why I wanted to make sure that this is a double. So, to be concerned that we will not drown. And each man said to his mate, then it would be then a sailor, whoops, sailors, then Then the sailors said to each other, let us cast lots. Let's cast lots. Now this is like throwing dice down, and I don't know if they were going low number or high number, but whoever was high number or low number, then that guy was subject to saying put him against the next guy and let's do the next one. Now remember, this boat is really rocking, but they got time to gather around and throw these lots. Try to keep the situation in mind. Just don't read the text and think that this is. Then the sailors said to each other, let us cast lots to learn. We can just get rid of this. And to learn on whose account this calamity has struck us. To learn on whose account. Now I guess this would be split. So they cast lots, and the lots fell on Jonah. Now, how many men are on this large boat that they would be like a merchant boat, that they could have passengers on it? Getting rocked now. Now, we don't know if the boat is in the waves and still going up and down, or if it's teetering side to side, but the fear of this great storm is what's causing them to do this. So, for the boat to be going back and forth like this, I don't think they could be doing the dice thing. Going up and down, yeah, I think they could be able to do something like that. Then they asked him, tell us now account for, no, it would be, they ask him, why. We'll ask him to account for this. Okay, now we've got that. But all these don't need to be said, okay? For the simple fact that why just asked him to account for this calamity, why it would happen to them, but account for it. And he said to them, I am a Hebrew. Okay, now that's funny because now we know that the boat itself had just docked there, and it would have been a merchant ship making port, changing goods, and coming back. Now, so far we don't have a time for when this happened, okay, and keep that in mind, because it's very interesting. I've already read the text. There is no time to tell us what it is, so I'm still paying attention. Maybe I can get something out of it. And right now, I realize that being it's a merchant boat, this is because our creator warns about these merchant boats are going to be destroyed, okay? And I'm not sure when that happens, but it would be that it has to be before he does that. So okay, so now I can actually get a timing for when this happened, okay? And I fear, that's what happens, you put the original names back in. I fear YV. I fear YV, because they all called on their creator, so we don't need to do this. They're all calling onto their God, and they're expecting him to be in heaven. And they fear, and I fear why, and I feared. I'm a lousy speller. There we go. And I feared YV. Okay, so that means he was fleeing from his country, or from the promised land. And this doesn't need to be said. They know what a creator does. Then the man become extremely frightened, that I feared YV. I feared YV. Then the man became, well, that's so much. And they said to him, how could you do this? For the men knew that he was fleeing from the presence of YV. Now, I don't know how you can do that, but I guess if you're ignorant as heck, and your God can't be seen, their God can't know where he's at until he asks for his creator. For the men knew that he was fleeing. For the men knew he was fleeing the men knew he was fleeing. But this would have to, this is wrong. And it would have to be, to add the correct verses, he would have to have told them that he had sent him to, he was fleeing, not obeying. Okay, that would be, for he was not obeying YV. Just to say what this is. Now, I gotta start all over here with the, that's what happens with that macro. For he was not obeying him. Okay. Now that's how I would correct the situation, because that is the truth of what was going on. So I was supposed to change this to gray to show that I added it, not this. Okay, now we've got the truth here. Okay, because he had told them. Okay, so this is not really needed either. So they said to him, what should we do with you? Okay, what shall we do with you, that the sea comes down for us? For the sea to come, for the sea to come down for us. For the sea was increasing. For the sea was increasingly stormy. And it was becoming stronger. Well, that isn't right either. For the stream was becoming, anyways, I better just get on to the next one here. And he told them, he didn't say, he told them they wanted to know an answer, so you have to, he told them, throw me into the sea, okay? Then the sea will be calm, for I know on the account it is me. Well, this is and the sea will be calm for you. For on account of me is this great storm. Okay. And I would say don't need this storm. Okay. However, the men rowed desperately. Now hold on. Now we know that the merchant ship is large enough that it's carrying passengers. It's large enough, so now we know that it's being rowed. Now that means that they have a second tier in the boat, and they're down there and they're rowing down in this area here. Okay. So when it said that they went down to the hole to get him, there wasn't another place below there that you just have to understand how these, it was the rowers that they're talking about, not so much the sailors. They were the rowers, okay? So we have to maybe go back and correct the rowers knew that they were into a large sea, okay? Well, I guess because you need to keep, if you're thinking the rowers are on the top level, then the oars are become very long, or the wood becomes very long for these guys to row. Even if they have two rowers on it, that this is still I'm just trying to imagine the ship, okay? And if they were on, let's put it this way, if they're on top, then we have to come back up here and we have to start this out, or we have to say the rowers, okay? They weren't sailors, they were rowers. Let's be correct when we're speaking here so we understand the situation. Okay, because you want to be as truthful as possible when you're doing these, okay? The rowers, we can just put rowers here. Desperately, however, the rowers, okay, I see what happened. However, the men rowed to return to the land. Oh, this doesn't need to be there. and it's not this. It would be but. In other words, they refused. When I'm reading this, he's refused. But the men rowed to return to land, but they could not. They could not, for the sea was becoming stormy. But they could not, for the sea was becoming stormier. And all of a sudden, it's kind of like, but the men rowed to return to land. I'm trying to keep this into 4 verses here, or 2 verses. But they could not, for the sea was becoming stormier. Then they called to YV and said, we earnestly, not pray, you petition when you're asking. We earnestly petition you, YV, do not let us drown on account of this male's, not on account of this male's life, but on account of his not obeying you. Not obeying you, okay. And do not put innocent blood on us, for you, YV, have done as you have pleased. Do not put, oh, this means that they are worried about if they try to kill him, they were killing him. Do not put this innocent blood on them for the storm to happen. Do not put innocent blood on us, for you have done as you pleased. Then, okay. And said, we earnestly petition you, YV, for us not to drown, for us not, for us not to drown. Okay, I'm getting rid of this one. This one is being moved to here. This one's being added. This is down, this was added. For us not to drown on account of this male, and not put, and not let us innocent, not let his innocent one be on us. For you have done this. Then they not they picked up Jonah, they took Jonah. they took Jonah and threw him into the sea. And the sea stopped its raging. Now see, here's another 3 verse here. Then the men feared YV greatly, and they offered a sacrifice. Yeah, like they found an animal on the ship. Then they went and killed it. Then they built a fire, and then they sacrificed it. I would say this just doesn't need to be there, okay? Although, wait a second. I'm seeing... and the rowers... and the rowers feared like this. So this can be like this. Okay. Now they offered a sacrifice. Okay, this was not needed. Okay. Then, now here comes the fun part. This is going to be stupidity at its best. Then YV appointed, he didn't appoint, he commanded. A great ship, a great fish to swallow Jonah. Now, how large is this fish? Because it's just crazy that this fish is going to go and swallow him out there in the sea or in the Mediterranean. And then, because I don't think there's that many, anyways, better not just. And then to swallow up Jonah. So how big is this fish? And Jonah was in the stomach of the fish for 3 days and 3 nights. Well, we absolutely know that this is wrong. A day is a day and night, as daylight. And 3 nights. Okay, 3 daylights and 3 nights. Okay. Now this, I want to show you something right now. That this is what is going to throw out everything here now of the story. Because if you believe that, then let's see. One, Jesus commanded us, unless your righteousness surpasses that of the scribes, you will not enter my kingdom into heaven. In other words, if you aren't smarter than these scribes, okay, your righteousness is your obedience to our Creator. And to be obedient to our Creator a lot, you become very truthful. Unless you are righteous and truthful, surpassing that of the scribes, you will not enter my kingdom into heaven. This is Jesus telling you a command to do, okay? Now here, it's funny because here's Jesus's words. The men of Nineveh will stand up with this generation at the judgment and condemn it, because they repented at the preaching of Jonah. Now, this we're going to get into a little bit later. And behold, there is something greater than Jonah. Here Jesus is saying he's a something and he's greater than Jonah. Now, what did Jonah do? Jonah didn't do nothing but preach at, and he didn't preach, did he? Did he? I mean, when we go into that part of the text, he did not preach at all. But Jesus saying something is greater. He didn't even, I mean, Jesus is calling himself something greater. Now, this is the problem with the text, okay? Now, here another, because Jesus makes himself look stupid here when he's saying this. And now, Jesus saying, just as Jonah was in 3 daylights and 3 nights in the belly of the sea monster, so will the Son of Man be 3 days in the heart of the earth. Okay? Now, Jesus just lied. Okay? Jesus just lied. because the text says that when Jesus, the next day for Jesus, the one after the preparation, the chief priests and Pharisees gathered with Pilate. And so this means they had to arrest Jesus, okay? Now, the preparation day, what is that? Because you have to understand, one, that it's our Creator in Egypt told them to take a ram and roast it for a celebration meal that I'm going to pass over your firstborn sons and not kill them, but all the Egyptians. And then what our Creator has told them, that a day is from twilight to the next twilight, sunsetting twilight. So they were supposed to prepare and roast this lamb, and then they were going to, at twilight, begin this preparation. Okay, so they're saying that after they prepared the meal, that this day that's in the night, and this was, Jesus was arrested in the morning hours, and then they went to Pilate. Okay, just remember that. And then it says, the deceiver said, after 3 days I am to rise again. Now this is a lie, because this is referring to Jesus saying this here, okay? But the priest said, after 3 days you will rise again. He began to teach them, the Son of Man must suffer. Okay, this was Jesus talking about this 3 day out. Okay, I picked out a bunch of all these verses that, because I started with Matthew here. What is it? Yeah, Matthew here for 3 days. And now these are Mark's 3 days. Okay, now let's take a look at what happened here, though. That after they prepared the ram for the Passover meal, when evening come, okay, this is what I was saying, that it was that night, that after this, but Jesus didn't eat the Passover meal with them, because it was at twilight. And here it was, because he told me he wasn't going to do this. But he is going to keep the Passover meal. Because after the meal that they took off, now when evening had come, 12, Mark changes it here. This is another, when the lamb being sacrificed, what do you want us to do to prepare? Okay, okay, they're saying that Jesus here is eating the Passover meal, and I know Jesus said that he wasn't going to eat, so that's part of the text that I'm getting confused, because I know Jesus lied on that. Okay, so here he ate the Passover meal and at twilight, and then they went out to pray, and this is when Judas went and betrayed him to the priest. But the object is all this comes down to where okay, this is another story. I'm trying to get to the part here in the text. Okay, now it was the day of preparation for the Passover, so this was okay. This is part where the one story doesn't tell you all the fact, but it was what I want to do here is use the word preparation. It was preparation for the Passover. Okay. Now the thing here is they didn't kill him on the preparation day. Okay. The preparation day was to roast and then eat at twilight. Okay, so we know that that's what's going on. I guess I was gonna, when I did this, I was, because I'd done a video on this, so I'm just trying to use what's going on. But here, anyways, that it was the preparation. Now, because it was the preparation, that the bodies could not be remain on the cross. Okay, no, Jesus did not eat. This was before the day of preparation. Okay, yes, Jesus, boy, have I got this confused when I'm reading. I guess Jesus did not lie. He did, it's the day before the preparation that he goes up at night and Judas betrays him. Okay, so on the day that they're preparing everything, that's when he is being presented to Pilate to be judged, and he is crucified. Okay, they said crucify to him. So on the preparation day that they were busy on, and they would have been preparing their meal. This is why the priest did it on that preparation day. And then on the eve, and then it says the next day here, the first day of the week, Mary came to the temple, or to the tombs, and the stone was already taken away. They have taken our Lord from the tomb. She went and reported it. Okay, now here's the text saying that they couldn't leave the bodies on the cross on the preparation day. Now see, they say it's the Sabbath. Okay, but that isn't the Sabbath. Our Creator said the first day of the first year is starting now when you leave Egypt, and it's from that twilight time when you start eating is that first day, and this is a holy day unto our Creator. So it was not the Sabbath. Okay, this was the day that they're preparing the food, because the next day is the first day of the week. So this can't be the Sabbath. This is the Sabbath, okay? Or the holy day. Not even a Sabbath. It's a holy day. And here is the holy day, is the first day of the week when she came, and he was already taken from the tomb, okay? Now that's one. And here it is. It was the preparation day, and then the Sabbath was about to begin. It should have just had the word in there. Then the Sabbath was about to begin. But the first day of the week came to the tomb, and they did not find his body. So Jesus is not in the earth for 3 days, okay? In fact, Jesus tells the murderer that's next to him, because he was supporting Jesus, and Jesus said, "You will be in heaven with me today." The day that when his soul left, it did not go down into the earth, into the abyss, okay, into the heart of the earth. It went into heaven. He left and he went to heaven. His soul went into heaven, and so did the murderer. Now, the thing here is the text also says the earth shook, and they seen ghosts ascending from the graves, ascending into heaven, okay? So the thing here is when Jesus died, he ascended into heaven. That's why the text says Jesus will not undergo decay, okay? Because the next day, when they went to there, the first, because it's not next day, it was, yes, they buried him on the preparation day, or put him in the tomb, or tombs, laid him on a tomb, and then when they went there the next day, he was gone already. So this is what I'm saying, is there is no 3 days. Jesus is a liar, and Jonah, the story Jonah, doesn't mean crap, okay? let me get back to Jonah here, because Jonah don't mean crap, because this is, if this is just what, made up? Yes, it was completely made up. Because now watch what's going to happen here. Because we know that Jesus lied. We know that Jesus did not 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth, which is like the abyss. We have the story there in the description. When I describe what a tombs is, and why they put people in the tomb or lay them on a tomb in the tombs, it's very interesting. It's got a lot of information there for you. That'll help, and I think I go through that story. There might be other videos down there. I just can't. Should pull that list up so I have something. Okay, now it's 55 minutes. Okay, let me see if I can get through this and not have part 2 here. And Jonah is going to be in the fish. He's trying out for distress. He goes for help from the deep. He's casting into the deep. The heart is engulfed and billows like over him. And where does he get spit out here? He descended to the roots of the mountains. Okay, the mountains have roots. Did you know that? And the bars around him forever. Now, I don't know about the bars, how he knows down there what's going true or not, but it shows the ignorance of the people not understanding how the earth is. Brought me up in life from the pit, from the abyss. I was fainting away, and I remember, oh, like he just went into the belly and he was just fainted away. Why? He was alive. He didn't faint away. I mean, he was in the belly for 3 days. So when was he faint? Anyways. And my prayer came to thee, to you, into your holy temple. It's not a temple. That's where pagan people put their idols of their God. It's into your holy house. But those who regard vain idols will sacrifice. But I will sacrifice to thee. Now, why is he sacrificing? The object is that you don't know that there is actually 12 commandments. Video and below. But our Creator defined what a sin is. A sin is our Creator defining that if you don't obey these 12 commandments, you bring me a sin offering. So there's 12 sins, and there's a sin offering needed. So you can't bring anything to sacrifice to our Creator, okay? He just does not understand this, and if he's a prophet, he knows these things inside and out. So he knows that this is just being wrongfully said, because they bring their ram to be sacrificed outside the gate, and the priest makes the offering, okay? For a forgiveness of sin. I have vowed I will pay salvation, voice of thanksgiving, that which I have vowed I will pay. Now, you can't pay for a vow. A vow is you promising to our Creator you will do something. So you can't pay for that. That's incorrect. Salvation is from YHVH. And salvation means to enter into heaven after you die. So to receive salvation from YHVH. Then YHVH commanded the fish to vomit Jonah upon shore. Now you have to understand that a whale can't just go up there and spit him out and come back. So anyways, this is just stupid stuff. But then the word of the Lord came again to Jonah, and he says, rise up and go to Nineveh, the great city, and proclaim. And now what is he proclaiming? What is he proclaiming? He's proclaiming that their evil has come before him, okay? From the text above. So he went all the way to Nineveh. Okay, now I don't know why our Creator sent him to a pagan place. But anyways, Now it was a great city. Okay, a 3 days walk. Okay, yeah, like the city is so big that it takes 3 days to walk it. But it did, because he didn't walk 3 days to get to where I showed you. The traveling distance is just too long. Then Jonah began to walk through the city, and he cried out, saying, 40 days and then it will be overthrown. Now this is his preaching, okay? Now, it says that they believed in uh, his creator. They believed in his creator. Now, oops, I better. And then what happens here is everybody started fasting and put on sackcloth, and the greatest to the least of them. I mean, just because, imagine you got some idiot with a sign walking around today and it says, in 40 days your city will be overthrown. Now that's not really preaching, okay? But the object is this is what we see happening here, and they just jumped right on it and they did this, and I don't know why they would do this. But then again, then they finally, the news reached the king of Nineveh. Now, how do you have a king over a city? Okay. So how is Nineveh the city? Okay. Now, this would mean that the city Babylon doesn't exist. It would be saying the king is in this in Nineveh as the king of Babylon. Okay. So this is ridiculous that it's a king. Okay. In fact, we'd have a hard time actually. Well, I guess I'd have to check out a little bit more to see if Babylon is older than Nineveh. Because if Babylon is older, then it would be they went to Babylon and not Nineveh. And he rose and he took out, and he's in sackcloth, and he put ashes on it, and then he's proclaiming and said that everybody in Nineveh, by the decree of the king and his nobles, not man or beast or flock, taste anything. Now, how can you control these beasts from drinking water? Okay? And do not let them eat, drink water. I read a little ahead there. They do not eat or drink water. You can't control a herd of animals. They're going to do what they're going to do. I mean, they're going to munch on the grass. Now, how are you going to, anyways, stupidity. Stupidity is when you're using reason and logic, it just doesn't make sense here. And let the men call on his creator earnestly, and each of them they change from his wicked way. See, this was a violent and wicked city to begin with. And all of a sudden, a guy going around just yelling, repent, you're going to go, and yeah, right. Draws burning anger and deed, and they turned the wicked. Then they turned away from their wicked deed in less than 40 days. And then, which he declared to bring upon him, he did not do it. Okay, then our Creator did not bring about a destruction of Nineveh. Now this greatly displeased Jonah, okay? And he prayed to YV, please, is this not what I said while I was still in my own kingdom, not country, my own kingdom. Kingdom should be this word here. Therefore, in order to forestall this, I fled to Tarshish. Now, he knew better than our Creator here. Now, this is idiocy, okay? This is telling our Creator he knows more than our Creator, okay? Now, this is the problem here with Jonah. Jonah couldn't. Example, a prophet is supposed to go tell a king this is going to happen. Or he goes to the gates by his house for meeting, or the tent for meeting with him, and he starts proclaiming prophecy is coming, and this is what's going to be because our Creator told him to come and do this. So there is no prophecy being told by our Creator here. So this so-called prophet is not prophesizing anything, did he? Is he? And then he knows more than our Creator. And then it just makes a silly story up that he wants to die. And then what he does is he goes out of the city and sat east of it. And there he made a shelter for himself and slept under the shade until he could see what happened to the city. Well, already we know that he did not do it. So why is he doing this? See, it greatly displeased Jonah. But then he wanted to come out here and see what was going to happen concerning this cause of what our Creator was going to do, which is out of place. This story is afterwards. That doesn't make any sense. Of going out here and sitting in, what is it, until he could see what happened to the city. Okay, nothing was going to happen to the city. So he's out there doing stupid stuff anyway. But our Creator, he goes over there and plants a plant that grows up over him and covers his head for shade. And then it's going to be about this plant that then the plant dies. And then all of a sudden, the plant dies. Then the sun comes up and was scorching east wind, and the sun beat down on Jonah's head. Okay, he became faint and begged for his soul to die. Now, he couldn't get up and walk to another shade tree a little bit over. I mean, where is this thing here that, where is it? Where's the shelter that he made for himself? Okay, where's the shelter? He just couldn't get up and go over. Logically, this story is stupid here, okay? And then he just goes on as saying, you did not cause the growth of the tree overnight, and should I not have compassion for Nineveh? Okay, in which there are more than 120 people. Now that's a 3-day walk for people to go through all them people, okay? And they did not know the difference between the right hand and left hand, but they knew when he went around and said that you're gonna die in 3 days and 40 days, as well as many animals. So here, Jonah saved many animals from not dying, and I don't know why you would have flocks inside the city, but anyways, you did not know the difference between the right and left hand, as well as many animals that were saved. We know the story here is not truthful. Our Creator does not go to a pagan place to warn people. I mean, and he was going to send these people from up there down to this little kingdom. Let me put this up here. Where is it? Whoops, the other way. Now this becomes, like I said, here, this little area right here, this little dot. Okay. Now these people way up here are going to know who our Creator is. Of all the earth, they know and they believe in him. Okay, they knew when Jonah went through that he said, this God down here is going to destroy you, and not any of your gods that you have or your belief are going to do anything for you to stop this. Well, that would have been just stupidity for them to believe in that, because if you ever read the story of how Nebuchadnezzar says how great he is, then our Creator commands him to start eating grass like an animal. Then when he wakes up, then he kind of like, yeah, now that is our Creator. Now he was listening, he heard me say that, and yes, there is a Creator, and only Daniel's Creator is the true Creator, and that's when he changed Babylon to believe that our Creator, whose name is YV, exists, and he is the only one that exists. only at Nebuchadnezzar's time. These guys didn't do it. And why would he flee way over here? I mean, this is more than 700 miles here. Okay, and he can't flee from the presence of our Creator. This story, Jonah, you can see that. You can see that up here, that the text is a format. Okay, let me even bring that down so you can see how much I found a format when I was working on it. You can see that these things could become a format. Okay, either it's 2 or it's 3. I know that it could go either way, and it could be adjusted for the text for 2 or 3. But the object here is the story completely makes no sense. So if you're sitting here and going to tell me that Jesus, when he spoke about Jonah, about 3 days, and then we can prove that Jesus is a liar over this 3 day or 3 daylights and 3 nights, to be 3 days, that's all not truthful. The story here has nothing to do with our Creator. I mean, there's nothing here except for the men of Nineveh, whoever they are, before Babylon becomes great, that there's this king up in this big city. I just don't, I might be wrong about the king living in Nineveh, and that might have been the establishment for it. But when I studied where Babylon was and how it's got these 2 great rivers that are blocking it, where you couldn't enter in to conquer Babylon. That's what made it so great, that you could have your army way up at the front where everybody had to come in. You could have your spies out there telling you what to watch for if they're coming. So the thing here is where Babylon exists, it had a great strength of not being able to be overtaken or conquered easily, just by the rivers being so great. You can't get an army over them to come in to do an invasion. So if Nineveh is way up above and there's a king up there, the text doesn't really say, like, oh, I did mention, when I did mention that it was before the merchants were destroyed. Let me see if I have a map here. Okay, the map that I'm using here, this shows the places they were trading with. Okay, whoops. This shows the map that they were trading with. Okay, these places are these places that are large. They were on the sea, and then they would take because these are the 2 seas that they're talking about. That's why I have the word seas, not sea, because these are 2 seas that they considered. And the shipping lanes were coming back and forth. And this is where actually the Queen of Sheba came from, because she brought spices, and we know that India has the spices. But the object here is this is the shipping stuff happened that was definitely destroyed. When was it destroyed? That's the key thing. That's the key thing. And let's see. Let me see if I can. Trying to think in which king or when this would happen, because this trading has to start somewhere around in here. But anyways, I guess I can't put a time on it. Let me see something real quick. The video is pretty much over, but all I'm trying to do is look for the text that I know that I could find in here. It's going to take a little bit to open. This is the finished, or for right now, the finished of our creator's hidden format. And I'm skimming through the titles. Sorry if it bothers you. So if this bothers, I will tell you when this is gonna be okay here. Okay, it's slowed down to where I'm going through it slower here. Okay, here it comes, right here. I've got it right here. This is when the ships are going to be in. So it's this king here, right after Jehu. So we got, so if we open this up, this king here, right? I just, yes. Oops. What did I just do? I might have closed something. Okay, it's in this time here that he's starting to predict. So we now have Jonah above this here. Okay. So if you're trying to put a time on Jonah's existence, it has to be in this area here. And we know that the Queen of Sheba went to Solomon, so we have to include Solomon. So this great trading route was in existence, and Jonah would have to be somewhere in here. I would say, anyways, that would be my best guess as to when Jonah would take place. And I know it didn't, but I'm just saying that when you putting these things together, because the shipping boat has to stop at in Israel. But anyways, I am declaring that Jonah here is absolutely not needed. There's nothing here of any importance. We have Jesus lying in the Gospels. So why would we even want to keep this around? Because it's for nothing. There's nothing here that, why would a prophet go 700 miles into a city and then be able to believe about our Creator? It just, they wouldn't. They would have just, they would have, that stuff would have just been so untrue. This is all, so this is made up, but the key here is the writer of this story knew of this pattern, the format. Because when the format works, we know that the writer knew this. Now, here's the key. Okay, now that's interesting. Because when could somebody write that and stick it into the text? because what I'm going to tell you is that we know that at this time right here, this idiot here, he actually started meditating to have sex with the so-called female goddess. And he was putting his idol into our Creator's meeting room, his Holy of Holies, where he's meeting with us, or meeting with priests. He's putting his idols in there. That's how corrupt this king was. Okay, and so the priest would have been corrupt. All the and that's a real good point here. That when I go look for text for, say, like for let's do this. Malachi, or Mike, yeah, Malachi 2:11 says that Judah married the daughter of a foreign god, and Judah here is the kingdom. So this is saying that they were all corrupt. So you know that at this time that the scribes would have been overtaking the text. But we don't really have a good time when Malachi was there. But we do know when Jeremiah is, and he's going around and warning them about how their kings and princes did all this in the city, and for the Queen of Heaven. And we know that Jeremiah was at the time of this king. Where is it? Oh, I got rid of it. I got to go back here. We know that he's at this time. So the corruption of the text of this made-up story has to come probably, I would say, whoops, that's the wrong, yeah, that's the right one. It has to be in this area. That would be the earliest that they would have been doing it. But they could have done it at any time, let's see, but they could have done it at any time from here, I would say, to here, because this was, they were overtaking this. So these two squares would be the time that they would have started messing with the text, and they would have edited the text, and they would have been changing it all over. And for you to say that, okay, the manuscripts, Mike, they're manuscripts, think of the manuscripts. Well, I know about the manuscripts. Let me show you something here about the manuscripts. Is this what? Oops. Come on. Okay, there it is. I found it. Okay. No. That's a good looking manuscript, isn't it? This is out of Egypt. This is in the museum of someplace here. Egyptian in Cairo, okay? This is in Cairo. How old do you think this is? How old do you think that is? Seriously. Well, let's scroll down here and find out. Look at that. It was sometime around, whoops, I should have just drawn a line. I just want a line here. That's 4,000 years old. 4,000 years old, and it looks that good. Okay? So don't tell me that the manuscripts are better than the scrolls. If they wanted to keep the original scrolls, the scrolls that the first writers wrote, this is what we would all have right here. But they didn't. They started collecting them, throwing them out, and editing them, and putting them together. And then they started re-editing them for themselves, for their goddess, and their god and goddess. But the object here is there's a lot to learn of why text is just wrong or isn't truthful. You have to understand that the text has been corrupted. Take a look at the 1611 preface. Read that. Do you know your reward for studying the Bible is just to have a fellowship with saints? Not how to enter into heaven, not to understand that Jesus is your king in heaven, not to know about our Creator who created everything that you know about. But the object is they are in control of the text. And you can read that they actually said that they were happy that the emperor, they were happy the learned man, the calendar is now set correctly because the first emperor of Rome changed it to the pagan celebration and not to our Creator's summer solstice, which is happening pretty soon, in the next week or two. But the object here is that people, you just got to wake up to the fact that in the 1611 preface, there's so much proof. I mean, why would they capitalize the letter S in S-U-N, the sun, unless they're pointing out that Ra is the sun god, and this is the god that Malachi 2:11 talks about, the daughter of the foreign god. Ra is the sun god, the moon is his daughter, okay? So, but anyways, that's enough for this one. I know I went a little long, but that just takes care of what it is. But in the long run, this is not, this text here is gone. This will, if you want it, you can have it. This should not, well, I guess I shouldn't say that. This text is so corrupt and doesn't follow. I can't allow you, I tell people our Creator made me see him 8 times. You've seen how much I'm able to go through here and correctly tell the story and go this way or that way to try to figure things out. But I can't allow this, people to think that some stupid fish swallowed. I mean, that's mythological stuff. So that's just not true. And I told you about the corruption of the scribes, and I also told you that Jesus said that we must become more righteous than the scribes. And you heard how I destroyed this text, or why I would, not only that I can fix what he's wrote and showing all this added stuff that they put in since years since he's wrote it, but all those changes, those they didn't even trust the guy that wrote it. Okay, they needed to change all of this stuff. They can't keep their hands off the text. They're always saying, oh, this little word here, this little word here can be changed, and they don't change it for the truth. They changed it for what they have encoded in these words. Anyways, I guess I'm done with this one, and Jonah is out. And I showed you, especially when I showed you they make Jesus a liar with it, with the text. So Jesus never spoke about Jonah and how he is something greater than Jonah. Anyways,